evening and welcome to another episode of Dissect. I go by the name of Novelist.
And I go by the name of Jewel.
And I am Miss Proper.
Yes.
And welcome to another episode of Dissect. Of course, we have another exciting episode for you guys. It's nice to be back, guys. How's the week?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And also, you coming back, you brought the storm back with you. I don't know why you brought the storm.
I think you got your notes confused. I came from a hot place, okay? I think you guys have no waiting to dump on me.
Well, it's nice and sunny in Texas, so yeah. I've said love and warm.
So jealous.
Why did we invite her?
My dog wants to be on the show. Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, say hey, everybody. Hey.
What's the dog's name?
Prince.
Hi, Prince.
Okay. Prince want to take the spotlight.
Right.
So tonight we have a nice show lined up for you guys. You know what? I got two beautiful ladies. In moments like this, I like to sit back, and we got two beautiful ladies coming on the stage. So I'm surrounded by beautiful women tonight. So one of you guys, please do me the favor and introduce our guest, please.
Okay, I would like
Ramona?
to introduce two fellow comrades of mine and Soca buddies, vet buddies. Peta-Gay Jones, she's former Navy and Army, retired, and Hyacinth Clark, she is an attorney and former Army.
Welcome.
Oh, she's hiding. There she is. Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
I hope we're not on different wavelengths, because in the past some people are lagging, so hopefully we're on the same pace tonight. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
So being Caribbean in the military.
I think we're all in the same place. So we'll start with that's how we're gonna start. Let's have you ladies introduce yourself or tell us a little bit about your background, maybe where you were born or where you reside, your name, type of stuff like that, and kind of introduce yourself to the panel. So we will start with Miss Clark.
Hello, I am Hyacinth Michelle Clark. I go by Michelle outside of work, obviously. So I can always tell where somebody knows me from if they say, "Hi, Hyacinth." I'm like, school or something. And if it's Clark, then it's clearly prior military people. I was born in Canada. My parents are Jamaican. I was sent to Jamaica like a lot of us who were born first generation up here. You get sent back home. So I grew up in Kingston, Rollington Town to be specific. And then my family moved to the States in 81, Miami. So I've been kind of a Florida girl, I guess, at least until after college. I went to FSU for undergrad. And then I moved to the DC, Maryland area and did a little bit of work. I thought I wanted to be into criminology, criminal stuff. Wasn't sure if I wanted to go to law school just yet because I finished undergrad in 2 years. So I was still kind of young, like 19, like, I got to come out and work. So realizing how the market was up here and how expensive things was, and just happened to talk to my sister one day who was married to the military. She's been in Germany since the 80s. And she was like, "Why don't you call the military? Why don't you call the Army? Since you're not sure what you want to do." I actually called the Army as a recruiter told me, "You're a recruiter's dream because you had a degree and you called the military and said, I want to sign up." Like, you didn't have to be recruited. You called us. So I called, and the rest is kind of history. I got in on loan repayment. So I went in as an E4 specialist, 71 Delta legal specialist. I did all of my training at Fort Jackson. Both basic training and AIT. And somehow I managed to get myself stationed right back in Maryland at Fort Meade. People were like, "How did you do that?" But I got back to Fort Meade, and that was my primary base. I had a lot of good tours, and I'm sure we'll get into that later, different things I was able to do, including singing and all over for the United States Army. And then when I got out in early 2001, February 2001 is when I went to law school. So there you have it. I went to law school in Kentucky and then came back to Maryland, and I've been there ever since.
Nice. All right.
Nice.
I don't know if we have any more questions for you because you answered that. Nice to meet you, Hyacinth. Peta-Gay.
Hello, greetings upon greetings, blessings upon blessings. My name is Peta-Gay Jones. I am originally from Spanish Town, Jamaica, De La Vega City to be exact. Jamaica, big up for itself.
All the time.
I came to America in 1999 to Baltimore, Maryland. I originally wanted to be an art major. Dad didn't want to pay for college, so I joined the Navy. I originally wanted to join the Air Force, however, the Air Force never really came to my school, Lake Clifton Eastern in East Baltimore. So the Navy did. I did the lay entry program because I signed up, I believe, when I was 17 before I even got the opportunity to ship. I did basic training in Great Lakes, Chicago. Then I went to A school in Pensacola, Florida. Then I was stationed in Whitney, in Pensacola, Florida. Then I went on to San Diego, California, was there for a while at Naval Medical Center, San Diego. Then I decided that I wanted to switch to the Army. The Army needed bodies, so I switched to the Army. I did a program called Warrior Transition. I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for training. Then I went on to Fort Jackson so I could become a 42 Alpha Human Resources Specialist. And then I've been stationed in Fort Hood, the Great Place, and Germany, and then back to Fort Hood, the Great Place, because Fort Hood is a place that you could be forever. And then I ended up doing a medical retirement back in 2018, and here I am still at the Great Place. And yeah, that's me.
That's Peta-Gay. Well, ladies, welcome to Dissect, and it's a pleasure having you guys sitting here with us tonight.
Thank you.
Right, my other two hosts, they're muted. I don't know why they're muted.
I am.
There we go.
Oh, wow. I'm here, frantically writing notes as both of you are speaking, but I can't keep up.
I know.
I know it's a lot.
I think we got everything. Okay, ladies, thanks for joining us.
Nice to meet you.
I told y'all they were going to bring the energy. I told you.
So
This is what happens when you bring Jamaicans together, right?
Okay, yes.
and I got 4 women on the panel, so this is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, you should be in the middle somehow. Can we switch?
I
to-
know.
That's cool. Yeah.
Director, hey, yeah. You see jealousy in the back. They're trying to squeeze me over there, you know?
Right in the middle.
Right? So what it's like being female in the military? Like what was that like coming into the military?
Well, for
You
me,
go first.
for me, the Navy wasn't. Let me even start with the Navy. First of all, I am a Jamaican that cannot swim. Okay.
Okay.
And I was in the Navy and could not swim. So imagine having to go to a pool every day. When I tell you I had to go to a pool every day to learn to swim.
Wow.
So I could graduate.
Wow.
And we had to jump from this tall tower, and jump down, come up, get on your back. So I had to basically learn to float, right? Because as long as we could float, you know, because you had to tie up your uniform in order to make a floating device. So I literally the day before battle station is basically a series of events, firefighting, how to tie up a ship, everything in one night. Like you start in the middle of the day and you go over into the next morning. And that's one of the proudest moments when you're done. You get your name because you have a recruit ball cap the whole time. And then once you finish battle station, you get a Navy ball cap and they play I'm proud to be an American. And it's like one of the proudest moments ever for you, especially for me who just couldn't swim. So I had to just learn and learn and learn. And I never swam after that. Okay. Just letting y'all know. I never had to swim after basic training. Never did. To this day, I still can't swim.
But you came to the top. You came to the top.
Like that's it. So what I find being Caribbean in the Navy, I end up being around other people from the Caribbean. So it was somewhat easy in a sense. It's the Army. The Army became difficult for me compared to the Navy. And then luckily for me, I end up having some of my siblings. We're a military family. I end up having some of my siblings at my second duty station with me. So it worked in my favor. The Army itself, you know, you come on a boat, or let's talk about America. You come on a boat, you wear grass skirts, you don't speak English. I had a teacher tell me in Baltimore, she had put me in grade 10. What's that? Sophomore, right? Sophomore. She said I didn't speak English. And I was like, well, I speak the Queen's English, so I don't understand how you're saying I don't speak English. Furthermore, we're clearly communicating, so that means you can understand what I'm saying. So I'm clearly speaking English. Needless to say, the next year they had to move me to a senior. So that senior year, I had to take both junior classes and senior classes. I excelled at school here compared to Jamaica, because Jamaica, it was math is math. In America, it's algebra, geometry. Like they separated a lot of things compared to Jamaica. So I found it was easier for me to learn here versus being in Jamaica, because it was just cut and dry. A math problem would take up a whole page in Jamaica versus here in America. So as far as the Army is concerned, being female, being immigrant, being Black, I get the African Americans saying, well, you should be African American. I say, how? When I'm Jamaican, my birth certificate says I'm Jamaican. So why would I consider myself an African American when I'm not born here? I am not African American. I'm Jamaican, West Indian, or Caribbean. But I would consider myself an African American because that is not what I am. So I got a lot of conflict with not saying I'm African American. It's like, okay, but you're Black. I'm like, it's clear I am Black, but I also have a grandmother that's Cuban. So it's like, and I have sisters born in Honduras. They're Afro-Latinas. So it's like, for us islanders, it's never necessarily a complexion thing. It's a culture thing.
Right.
So I find that it was hard for a lot of people to understand. And then I had to switch up the accent, of course, for people to understand me. But I feel more comfortable speaking my native tongue versus having to twang, in a sense. But it was something else. It was definitely a journey, a thing. But Peta-Gay my name, so it's like.
And as Hyacinth is mine, you know, because I get the reverse because I did most of my schooling in the U.S. I mean, I started with first grade in Miami, so clearly I've been schooled in the U.S. system. But still, you know, I remember when, as she was talking, I recall when I was at MEPS in Baltimore, and they're like, you know, we're separating all the Americans here and then immigrants here. So I go in the immigrant line. What you doing over there? I'm not born in the U.S. So I'm like, where you? Canada. They got Black people in Canada. Literally, a sergeant first class asked me, they got Black people in Canada? And this was in 1997. They got Black people in Canada. Where's he been? But that's how closed-minded, you know, a lot of people are. I eventually got citizenship because I got tired of it. Every time when it was time to deploy or go somewhere with your group, you always had to get in the long line. Because let me see, they have this thing in the military called military welfare. What's MWR? What's the R stand for again? Military welfare.
Recreation.
Recreation. That's what the R stand for.
Yeah.
So what the Army realizes, and I'm pretty sure the other branches do it too. They said, why don't we do like a talent thing and find out what soldiers can play instruments, sing, do whatever, because it's cheaper than if we try and bring Beyonce in here. So you audition, you send in your tape, you get a permission from your platoon that, all right, she's not on any kind of discipline, let her go. So you go to Fort Belvoir, you're there for like, I think we're there for like 3 weeks, and you basically learn 2 hours, 2 hours worth of music, a set. And we went all up and down the East Coast driving. That's the part. This is when I realized, no, entertainment life is not for me. Because before you become a big star, what people don't tell you is you have to do all of it yourself. You have to get yourself to the next destination. You have to set up, break down after you perform, and you're like, there is no, you're not a big hit, so there's nobody coming in to break down the set for you. You are everything.
Right.
But when we started traveling, we went from Alaska to Japan to Korea. We spent 3 weeks in Korea, including going to the DMZ. So that's one thing, like when people are considering whether or not going to the military, I said, if you really want to travel, like that whole see the world, it sounds like a cheesy phrase, but it's true. Yes. You can see everywhere. I don't know if Peta-Gay, that was your experience too, but you can get to everywhere and see everything, places that you would never go. So, because I would never volunteer to go to the DMV. I don't want to see Kim Jong-un. So I can't see from over here is enough. So from there, we were in Korea, and then we went to Hawaii and then where else again? I feel like I'm forgetting somewhere. But that's that. So was it a bad thing? No. Like any job, it has its pluses and minuses. Right. Like I said, I took advantage of getting my citizenship. I think I applied in January, and they used to have a fast track. If you was in the military, you could get a little faster. That you still had to take the citizenship test, which is wild. You can die for the country, but they still want to know. You know what I mean? They still want to know, do you know your senators, your this, and you're like, you can ask the average American on the road, and they don't know their senators. Right. They don't know who's their House representative. They don't know who their senators from their steps. Some of them don't even know who their governor is. Yeah. But here you have it. So other than dealing with some of those ignorant comments, oh, they got black people from there. It's just like America. Yeah. I remember being stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, when I went to sergeant school. And can you imagine? This is in 2000 2000, and being told, don't go out that back gate. The Klan is out there. Wow. Even if you're in uniform, don't go out that gate.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It was when I came here I realized how much people didn't travel, because I had a passport since I was a baby.
Of course.
When I came to America, I learned so much because of the questions that were being asked. That it was in that moment that I realized a lot of people have never left their city, their state, or their country. They just don't know. So I didn't really try to take it personal. I just took it as ignorance, right?
They never left Maryland. Exactly. They've never left their home. Exactly.
So, and then it's a matter of if I correct you and I tell you and you continue to be ignorant, then no problem. Because either you actually want to learn or you actually want to remain a dunce, right? Dunce, I'm the key word.
And being Jamaican, it was probably easier for us because I don't know if the hosts, I know Ramon is definitely not from Jamaica, but I don't know about the other hosts' background. But being Jamaican, you know that how many times have people seen that map and people are like, this is Jamaica and these are the other islands in the Caribbean? Yeah. Because American people, if you have any accent, oh, that's Jamaican. Oh, you're Jamaican. Yes. So for us, it was like, yeah, you're right. But if you were from any other island, God help you, because the default answer is, you must be Jamaican. It's like, you know, there's other islands out there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we get that too. I mean, I'm Canadian, first generation Canadian. My parents are Trinidadian.
Oh,
so it's same, yeah.
I get it too. We get it too. Oh, you must be Jamaican, especially because my hair, I got locks. So, so I understand that as well.
Speaking of locks, I wasn't Jamaican enough because I didn't have locks according to them.
Oh, wow.
Be Jamaican and not have locks. So I said, so my birth certificate means absolutely nothing, because how are you going to tell me I have to have locks? Because I said in my country, it's necessarily a religion, Rastafari.
Exactly.
So not everybody walk around with locks.
Or smoke weed.
Or smoke weed. And I didn't really do weed till I left the military.
Right?
Yep.
I'm holistic. I don't do meds. So I went holistic route. So that's where the marijuana comes from me. But while being in, I just wasn't Jamaican enough because I didn't smoke. I didn't have locks. I didn't walk around.
And you didn't say, yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Walk around just talking like, yeah, man. Like,
everything is yeah, it's like that's just in TV. You've been watching too much. What's the bobsled team?
Oh, feeling really.
Yeah, Lord of mercy. When that movie came out, like, no, everybody's with it. We don't all talk about it.
So it was definitely interesting. But for the most part, I just always try to surround myself with other Caribbean people, just so I don't have to explain myself.
Yeah, makes sense. You find your tribe. So
yes,
we always do. We always do. Yeah,
and you stick together because you understand each other. So
yes.
And it's gotten easier now. Some of the new regs, I know Ramona posts a lot of them, the updates. Like, but when we were in, at least I got on in 2001, it was real strict as far as how you could have your hair. I'm natural when I don't have braids in, so I can just imagine trying to be natural back in the 90s because it was, you can't do this, you can't have your hair, your certain nail polish, but the rules have relaxed some, so it's not as difficult as a Black woman. But for a while, I remember being basic training when I had a perm. And Joe's like, you need to do something, get them little pieces that keep flying. And I'm like, other than gelling down my head, keeping gel. I don't have white people hair. It's when I'm taking this hat on and off, the pieces are gonna fly. They're not gonna lay straight.
What's crazy? They cut females here in the Navy.
Wow.
Imagine being told they're gonna cut your hair, so you cut it before going, and you cut it in a nice little style. And then you get there, and when the males go to get a haircut, they take you. And they don't have Black people cutting your hair, and people cutting your hair. And imagine somebody you have your hair in a ponytail, and somebody just cuts straight across on your Black hair. And then you take it down, and it's the most craziest bob looking, symmetrical, uneven situation on your head. And then you can't really get a perm. So we used to have to sneak
you couldn't.
Or the NEX at the time. Buy boxes of perms, split up the pieces, put it in our white shipmates locker. And then when there's a male on duty, that's when we'll go give ourselves a relaxer. Because we could, when I tell you the Black girls walking around looking rough.
Yeah.
We look homeless.
Do they still do that though? Like I see, because I do watch like different people in the military. I have family that are in the military as well. And they seem to have well-groomed hair. So are they still doing?
They've relaxed the rules a lot now. They've literally changed the regulations. Because loxing, grooming, of course, as far as Black men, the issue used to be, of course, with the beard. And can imagine as a Black man, and you're saying, hey, when I shave, I get the bumps and stuff. I have a reaction to it. Right. And for a while, that was a fight.
Yeah.
But now, again, they've come a long way as far as, hey, you can't expect people to pop out a baby, because that's the other thing. I didn't have a kid in the military, but that used to be really difficult for women. You were expected to, you give birth, 6 weeks, you're downrange. So your plan to breastfeed for a year or, 6 months, you could pack that up because you're going to go wherever the military sends you.
I had a baby in the military. My husband at the time, Jamaican also, was already deployed to Iraq. He left when I was pregnant. He came back in order for me to give birth. 3 months after giving birth to my daughter, I deployed to Afghanistan.
See? So I'm telling no lie.
And they sent me to where my husband is, and they sent me to a whole different place. So, and then while I'm in Afghanistan, I end up having to get emergency surgery because I find out I had a 5 centimeter cyst on my ovary and my fallopian. So I had a surgery in Afghanistan. They didn't send me home. I had surgery in Afghanistan to remove my ovary and fallopian tube, had some bed rest and stuff, and I went on with the rest of the deployment. And I have to come back to this little baby walking and everything. So I didn't breastfeed or anything because I knew I was leaving. It was
that's the dark side people don't tell you. Like when you go in, if you go in with a child, you're expected to sign a power of attorney. And you better have a family member or whoever you're ready to sign that kid over to, because it's not an excuse to say, oh, I have a 2-year-old. That don't mean you can't deploy. That don't mean you can't deploy at all. Like in my case, I was supposed to be going to Bosnia in '98. And I had gotten injured, believe it or not, playing football, soccer. I was the goalie before y'all start. How you injure your hand? How you injure your hand playing football? I was the goalie. And so ball pops my hand back. And they're like, oh, pains in your head, pains. This happened in February. And May or June is when I'm supposed to deploy. And they're like, you still got to go. They just figured I was trying to find an excuse not to go. And I'm like, no, my wrist is really messed up. Yeah, you'll go in. So I go. Army doctor is like, you're malingering. And she gave me 7 days to do a PT test. I called back. I had a civilian doctor at Fort Meade who literally is like, listen, girl, she was a black woman. You only got one hand. So you can play with the Army if you want and have them frig up and you have no right hand, or get a second opinion. But when you're young, you don't know you can ask for a second opinion. You just figure, I got to go where these people tell me to go. So I call the launch tool is the Air Force, right? In Germany. So I call launch tool, managed to go down there like 2 days later. And literally 2 days later, doctor's like, oh, you have a bone cyst. Put her in a cast. You're not going nowhere. Now, do you think they was going to send me back? No, sir. They were short bodies. You go and go sit on a hole at desk. But it was fine because, like I said, I had a sister that lived in Germany. So I was in Germany for 9 months. That was probably the most time my sister and I had spent together since childhood. So it was fine with a cast on. And you cannot drive. You cannot rent a car. You cannot do anything in Germany because the cars are stick. Most of the rental cars are stick. So, but even with that, still, it took the Army almost 2 years before they could finally find out, oh, you have a SL tear. You have a torn ligament. So you have to stay on them. So a lot of times when people are like, oh, how do you get a disability or how do you go through the process? The military will give you what we call in the Army Ranger candy, AKA Tylenol 800 milligrams, right? They would give you that. They would give you that to treat anything. If you go and say you got cancer, give her Ranger candy. You say you got ulcers, give her Ranger candy.
They give you that.
They give you that. That's the default medicine. Some people would get Percocets and other stuff, and we all know the problem with those drugs is you get hooked on them.
Yep.
You get hooked on them. But that they give you that and you just keep it moving. Luckily for me, by the time I got to Walter Reed, again, went to a Navy doctor, was finally able to tell the Army, oh, it's right there. She has a torn ligament. So 2 surgeries later, ta-da.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you have to advocate for yourself. So if you know someone that's in the military now, they have to be an advocate for themselves. Wow. You are your best. As a Black person, period, dealing with the medical profession.
Yeah, because as Black people, we are prone to more stuff. A lot of people don't take our pain into consideration. And then as Black women, we find this also. So I like having those medical providers that are either a Black or brown. When it comes to GYN issue, I prefer male, even though I don't really care for male doctor in a sense. When it comes to that, I prefer male because they listen more. And like for me, after, my surgery, I kept just getting more fibroids and more cysts. Currently, I have 2 fibroids and a cyst. And just trying to figure out what I want to do with that. And I'm really considering just getting a hysterectomy at this point. I'm a month away from 40, so why not? I don't plan on having any more children. But because we have a higher pain tolerance in a sense, people don't take us seriously.
At all.
So you have to literally advocate. Okay, they tell you this. You know what? I need another person because they're telling me does not make sense. So, and then life after the military itself is rough because you come out with back pain, knee pain, head. Because even with the hair, having to put your hair in a bun, you end up having traction alopecia. So a lot of people don't have edges, right? And then you have migraines. So like I have migraines. I get Botox injections in my head every 3 months. I have a unit. Ramona got the same Cephalid device. We put it on our forehead. I get ONB, occipital nerve block. You got the pills. Sometimes you got to give your own self an injection. So the military is over, but the situations that the military cause is not
Oh
over.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
So it's like a never-ending battle. And then to fight the VA for what's
Mhm.
yours is another battle. And it's just one thing after another. It's
When did you come out? When did you come out?
2018.
28. So it also, I was gonna say, it depends on when you came out. So I came out before 9/11. So officially May 2001. So I got in, I'm before the wave of people who were injured in Iraq, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm more, I got through, like, for example, I got into this program called Voc Rehab. If you're 30% or more disabled,
I did that
you
for
get,
one of my degrees.
you got that too. Yeah. They pay for the second, once you get approved, that whatever you say, hey, this is my plan. And in my case, I was like, well, I was going to law school. Y'all the ones messed up my wrist. So
Yeah.
they was able to, the guy was like, okay, well, you know what? Even though you have an advanced degree, we're going to go ahead and pay for it. So the plus side is, will they help you once you advocate for yourself? Yes. They
Yes.
paid for the last year and a half of law school. I had a stipend. They paid for my bar review. They bought me a laptop. I had an accommodation when I took the bar. I didn't have to write the essays because my wrist was messed up. So again, the VA helped with all of those things. You
Yeah.
can still use your VA home loan. You can use all these VA benefits.
Well, you
Now
have
imagine in the 50s
things
when
that
Black people were coming out and dealing with segregation and they didn't have the benefit.
So what I'm hearing from you ladies is there's a lot of obviously PTSD that you're dealing with, a lot of discrimination, obviously. One, because you're a female, another one because you're Black. A Black female who has a higher pain tolerance than most. Obviously, they think that Black people have a higher pain tolerance than other people. So the stories that you're sharing with us are all things that I'm pretty sure that's not just you who experience these things. So would you say that in the military, for veterans, that a lot of Black people are experiencing some PTSD or some type of unresolved trauma from being in the Army? Like, is that fair to say?
I would say so, particularly depending on the troops that you're with. I mean, I imagine as a woman, it's like being around cops or professions that are male dominated. So the military is no exception. When I went to PLDC, it was only 2 of us women amongst a whole platoon of men. So you're going to be subjected to a whole lot of what the world, in my world, I'm a civil rights lawyer now, with sexual harassment. It's clear sexual harassment, the stuff you have to hear. But when you're in that world, that was, I don't know, Peta-Gay, would you say was the norm? I would.
So here's what I'm going to share, and because I'm sure this may help somebody. For me, I have what's called PTSD with / of anxiety / of depression / of MST, military sexual trauma. What military sexual trauma is, you have experienced some kind of sexual assault, sexual harassment, something of unwanted in some kind of sexual nature. My first time being stationed at Fort Hood, I experienced military sexual trauma. And then you get those questions. Did you know this person? Why this person felt they need that they could do this? I was a whole married person. So thankfully for me, I had a chain of command who knew that when I got off work, I went home to my family, who knew that this person was in a whole nother company than the company that I was in. But we have a thing called a duty roster. The duty roster got everybody's name on it, everybody's number, everybody's information on it. And everybody has access to this duty roster. Yeah. And what you find is people utilize these things to do things to other people that they don't want. So on top of your military trauma, your personal traumas, all of these things you have to deal with after. So for me, I rather my friendship groups be other military people because they're more understanding of your traumas versus people who have never served and has no idea. Because all those people could say is, oh,
Right, right,
right? But
right.
other military people be like, you know what, Dad, I
No.
understand, or
Yep.
I've been there. It took me years to really talk about whatever traumas. But I definitely am an advocate for mental health. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a member of a program called Wounded Warrior Project. I'm an alumni. They have multiple resources. I'm also a member of a group, a veteran organization called Team Red, White, and Blue. They basically enrich veterans' life through social and physical activities.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a person who you can't really run much, but you can walk, you have a group that will meet that you can walk with. If you want to run, some people, even though they're broken, they enjoy running. For
Right.
me, I love to dance. My knees get swollen after I'm done, but
But you dance. You pizza be dancing.
That's why you take your range of pills.
yes.
Yep.
So for me, it feeds me dancing feeds my mental health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to make a decision on what's more important, right? Because you can't really fix none of it in a sense. You can only learn to
Deal with
cope
it.
and live with it. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, my mental health is more important. So even though when I'm done, I can't walk, when I'm done dancing, at least I'm happy in a sense, right? Not 100% happy, but somewhat where I'm able to function, able to take care of my child. Because now I'm currently a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to take care of my child, be a mother to my child, and try to be the best me I can be. So I try to utilize these resources out there, and I try to encourage other vets, specifically women vets, because a lot of them don't know what's out there for them, because times have changed,
Yes.
and a lot of people don't have, especially our older vets, our women from the Women Corps, right, from the WAC. A lot of them are older. They may not do computers. They may not know how to really research. So my clinic that I go to at the VA is a women's clinic. So you sit in the lobby, you come across people. I don't really like people, but I do, right?
Work.
It's weird. Like you would swear that I'm a people person, but I'm really not. It takes a lot out of me to engage with others. So I have to mentally prepare myself for that engagement. But I find that there's times I'm sitting at the clinic and I see a female and I'm like, I hope she don't talk to me. But then when she does, my spirit is saying, Peter, she needs you. And you'd be surprised what you learn. Like I sit one day, I sat there and this young lady was telling me her whole life. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm like giving her feedback. And they call my name. And I said, don't move. When I'm done with my appointment, I'm coming back to finish. And I go to my appointment, I come back and I finish. And by the time it was done, she's like, you know what? I needed this. And I said, Spirit told me you needed it.
To talk to, yeah. But even that, like you said, that's a change, because when I first started going to VA in 2001, they did not have a specific women's clinic. I remember getting the cards, and thank God somebody told them, stop sending these things to the U.S. Postal Service. They used to send one postcard where it said, it's time for your modified physical exam. The whole world, everybody in the Postal Service knows that time for your what's the modified physical exam? Basically, your OBGYN. So thankfully somebody told them, stop putting people in business in that meal. But they didn't have that at first. They didn't have those services. So I'm assuming through Congress and pressure from various groups like Peta-Gay just mentioned, there have been more gearing services specifically for women, because there are things that are only going to happen to a woman. I mean, I know some men can get breast cancer, but for the most part, it's a woman thing. It's us that needs a mammogram every year. It's us that are going to deal with, like you said, fibroids and the various different issues every year.
But speaking of breast cancer, I had a couple of friends of mine that had breast cancer, survived, some passed. And one of them specifically, a friend of mine, she's here in Texas in Fort Hood area. They told her when she found the lump, they told her it's because she was fat. She was overweight.
See? That's why you have to advocate.
It's after she retired, they realized it was cancer. Luckily she's here still. But it's like the crazy.
How much time went by?
They told her, but then I had a captain who worked with me in the brigade, Captain Smith. she ended up, after she retired, she ended up passing away from breast cancer.
Wow.
So it's like me that is prone to fibroids to stuff, and I'm like, hey, I need to be checked every year or every 6 months.
Yeah, because I think now they're trying to tell you you don't need to get a PAP for 3 to 5 years.
Yes.
And you're like, you know how many things you can miss in 3 to 5 years?
In Canada, they're saying 2 years now. So
here they're saying 3 to 5 years. If you've had a normal one, imagine if you wait 5 years to get a PAP.
Yeah.
You can have full cancer down here.
But you can speak up against that. But
Yeah,
women they don't know that.
Yeah, that's for me because I'm prone. Hey, I secure messaging is my friend. They can get rid of secure messaging. Anything I want, secure this because they can't say I didn't speak to them. So I feel a pain, and hence why I found out I have these new fibroids. I was feeling pain, contacted my PCM via TRICARE. PCM was like, let's do an ultrasound before I refer you to an OB. Ultrasound came back, 2 fibroids and a cyst, 1 outside the uterus, 1 inside the uterus, and the cyst is on the cervix. Refer me to OB, and now me and the OB is coming up with a plan. But that's just the simple fact. I know I have a history, and they always be like, do you know if anybody in your family? I don't know if anybody in my family have this.
And it's in your record too. That's part of your disability. But the average person, if it's not a part of your disability, like if I say anything about my hand, I get immediate to the front of the line. I'll get the MRIs, the CAT scans, everything. But if it's anything else that I prefer to go to VA because it's one-stop shopping. I'll say that too.
I prefer TRICARE because I find that
because you're disabled, you have access to it. Only not disabled, retired.
Yes, so
because you're retired. Only retirees, yeah. But I go there for everything because it's not until you try and go on the outside and you're like, oh, y'all have to go somewhere else for your prescription. You got to go somewhere else for your x-ray. You got to go somewhere else for your, at the VA, it's everything. I'm going to primary care team.
Michelle, for me, what I find that because Darnell is right there. And I got
What's Darnell?
Darnell Hospital. Darnell Hospital, where I live, it's up the street. This was my last duty station before retiring. So the same doctors that I had while active duty, I stayed at the same clinic because I could. I kept the same neurologist, the same ortho doctor, the same until it's time for them to move on. And they normally do a good battle handoff. They normally
they do
to the next doctor before. That way I don't have to go in and keep telling my story. With the VA, every time I go to the VA to see my PCM, when I show up, is a whole different PCM.
Oh, wow.
My PCM is gone. My particular PCM that I have now, she's National Guard. She got activated. So she was gone when I went to my next appointment. But then I just had one for my knee. That PCM that I was seeing said that my other one is back because she redeployed. And I'm just and they keep asking me, why don't I come to the VA often? I said, I come once a year or twice a year. Anything other than that, I send you a secure message and you either book me an appointment or you send me to the community.
There may be a major training hospital because that is the risk too. VA obviously tends to be linked to a training. So you're going to have a high turnover of students because they're letting students practice on you, to tell you the truth. But if they're not, exactly.
So, what I'm saying.
So ladies, I wanted to show like a bright side of you guys before we actually exit the show. So let's get into like 2 quick short videos of you guys away from the military having a little bit of fun, and then we'll come right back. All right?
Okay.
All right.
Do you have?
Something I feel right, them I breathe them up, it take your life. Had up with them one, up it can't take your life. See you looking in as if you want a better life. You are go 6 feet in the earth, you can't move right. Try run up on me, good is off it, done them out. Can't ride up on it, we off it, push them out. Them not talk right, you see them never walk right. See them dead inside, them the feet clean out them. Yeah. Every day we hustling. Every day we hustling hard. Every day we moving, and so we go with us the road till we get to the top. Every day we hustling. Every day we hustling hard. So every day we moving, and so we go with us the road till we get them. Have to run them. We can't trust them. They thinking out them. Them no walk right. Them not talk right. See them stink inside. Them they thinking out them. Them watch me and I nothing with them. Never looking at this stuff. Cause them a box of them friends. Father God a judgment. We have to watch them. Them sticking at the grass and full of wall of problem. Chatty them a chat. Wa full of wool in.
Big up,
Jacqueline. That video, guys, friend and proper things brand ambassador like myself, Lady Jacqueline. I go by Peter the Dancer Diva outside in the real world, and I dance for Lady Jacqueline, and I was also in her video. So that's what that video was. That was Lady Jacqueline, the Jamaican and Gambian sister. Big up yourself, Jacqueline.
And but wait, oh, you not tell them so normally you have the side of your head chief.
Yeah,
Yes,
normally all Eddie.
Cause that's how me know to say you.
Normally all Eddie, guys.
So if you looked at the video really closely, she was not the singer. She was a dancer. I think I saw the wicked foot movements in the video with the boots on. Thanks for showing that video, Novelist. Amazing.
That's what you get. That's what you guys get on bad when you know that work, eh?
Right.
Hey, there's life. There's life outside of work.
Okay.
I wanted to say,
well, we gonna. What's that? Sorry. Go ahead.
before we go to a sneak peek at Michelle, I wanted one of the two of you ladies to tell them how I met the two of you.
Oh.
Do you want me to say it?
You say it.
You tell us.
So we met in the soca scene. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, there's the infamous WhatsApp chat, right? In the soca scene. So I was like, there's some military people in here, and it really would be cool if we connected and looked out for each other and network. Because that's really, if you don't hear stuff, you don't hear anything other than through your brother or your sister in the military. They're not going to tell Black people stuff. So,
True.
Which is unfortunate, right? So I made a military WhatsApp group, and it's a compilation of everybody from soca chats all over the world, literally from all over the world. We have people in the UK, all over, and it's called Military Fetas. And we developed a beautiful friendship. Peta, I live in Fort Hood too, and we met in person. We hang out. So that's how I met these wonderful ladies.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we've since gone on to various carnivals. We'll meet up in St. Lucia. We'll meet up Trinidad. We'll meet up with other military folks too.
Yeah.
I heard you mention that you're from Canada, born in Canada, so you're Canadian, even though you have American citizenship. Have you ever played mass in Toronto?
I have not. It's on my to-do list. I know. It's
Jewel, you better.
I did not get into carnival. Real talk. I did not get into carnival. I mean, I went as a child, and my dad in Miami, he had a truck driver friend who used to drive the truck so I've been like the kid who was on the truck, but not participant in mass, because I mean, I'm Jamaican. To me, carnival was hot, tiny, whiny.
Yeah, that's true.
No, real talk. So I had this derby party, and I had this party, and I'm playing what I think is soca music, right? And I'm like my typical tiny, whiny, whine your bum. So this white girl came who I met through a meetup group. I'd invited some people. She's like, you don't have any Michelle Montano? I said, Michelle who? She said, Michelle Montano. I said, I don't know who that is. Do you mind if I play my iPod? Knock yourself out, sis. And from then, a lot of people don't believe me. In fact, I have Jamaicans now are like, you're at Trinidad, yeah, no. Because I'm not, unlike Peta-Gay, I'm not a big new dance hall queen. I'm a 90s dance hall baby. I don't know if some of that is because of my age at 47, but I am give me the Elephant Man and Beanie Man era. I'm all for that era of dance hall.
Give me any era, I can do it. These days, we're like a bird. And
Pizza can do it.
Me, I let a bird and stuff. Me keep up with whatever's popping because remember, me are the dancer diva. The times, but I have never played mass. I have never went to carnival to dress up. So it's funny how I ended up in that group. but I was always that Jamaican in the group that was like, give me dancehall all day. You could tell I was the Jamaican in military fetas. I was very much the Jamaican because I am very much strictly dancehall.
You have to bring her along. That's strange because
I know
you're so closely you're friends with Ramona and you haven't played Mass, which is and you're friends with Michelle. I'm surprised that you haven't played
we're gonna bring her along. We still recruit her.
We are.
But I think it'd probably be the best to do Jamaica Carnival because, as you know, even in St. Lucia they played some reggae on the road. They played some dance.
It's very big.
Austin has an event coming up. Austin has an event coming up called Caribbean Carnival on March 11th in Austin. The young lady that was did the song in the video, she's performing. Of course, I'm gonna be there. They also had one last year called Austin Summer Carnival. That's when me and Jacqueline wore Ramona's brand. Ramona had shirt and thing made for us. We put on our little head things. That's the closest we gonna get. Ramona wanted to use me for her band launch, but I wouldn't be able to make it that day. But I was looking for, I want to experience it. And Houston has Carnival, Dallas has Carnival. And I'm hoping to catch one of them. And I'm also planning trips with my siblings to check out one of these Carnival.
One of them.
Because I want to experience it. I just don't like to get dirty. And
mercy. I'm not Juviana.
You just look dirty. You might never get dirty.
I'm going to bring you to a Juve. Don't worry.
I can't wear on a wig.
Are you still in Toronto now?
I'm born and raised in Toronto. Yes, I'm here right now.
Okay.
So whenever you do decide to come to Toronto, you can hit us up. Hit me up.
No, for the first time I went 2 years ago. I hadn't been to Toronto since 1981, which is why people like, do you claim Canada? I said, I do claim Canada. But I really don't know it though.
It's changed a lot.
I wouldn't say I remember it.
Aries Nile, big up yourself.
That's our other sis. Yeah, Aries Nile. Hey, Tango.
So we have one more video to show, and we're gonna show that, and after that, it's pretty much a wrap. So let's get into what Miss Clark does.
Oh Lord,
she's not.
Gorgeous. You did that, girlfriend.
Yes.
There is life outside. And the worst is when somebody tries to ask you a question. You're like, really? I've been drinking. Don't be asking me those legal questions now. I've been drinking.
Yes, I love that costume with Lost Tribe.
Lost Tribe.
Band this year. Good, beautiful costumes.
Thank you.
Yeah. As they always do.
Thank you all.
This was fun.
It was. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Ramona.
No problem. Anytime.
Yep.
We plan on having future segments in future seasons.
Okay.
With other branches and bringing even some of the Caribbean men. So.
Okay.
You need to bring our favorite Czech pilot.
Oh goodness, Lord.
Exactly, Mr. American Airlines.
Well, ladies, thank you for
I'm waiting for
Tango X.
Yeah. What's the next topic?
Sorry, Novelist. What did you say? You're overpowered here by women.
Yeah, I've been overpowered all night. That's why I'm just sitting in my corner all the way and just chilling. So no, thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
Especially because we used to, on the chat group when Ramona was on that one time, that was me up in the YouTube chats.
Yes, they remember.
Yes.
But our comrade Tango was asking what is the next topic. So I guess for next week, I guess one of you guys want to.
Next week topic? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
next week topic. We actually have a soca artist next week, which we're about to show. We're about to show the video right now to
All right.
introduce our next guest for next week. So,
Yes.
thank you, ladies, for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
let's do this again. So, hopefully, we did this last season, and we thought it was a good idea to do it again, and here it is again. So, hopefully, we get one of you guys, if not both of you guys, to come back and join us next season, so we can see what badness you guys do for Carnival and all
Maybe
that.
I'll make one.
Catch us at a carnival coming soon. I'll be at Orlando, St. Thomas, and Hollywood, and DC.
Houston.
And Houston. Oh, Lord. All right, y'all go put me up.
All right.
Nice to meet you, ladies. It was
Same here. Take care, ladies.
Bye, ladies.
And gentlemen.
And, thank you.
Bye.
See you guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And there you had it, though.
Woo,
Two
Jamaican
beautiful,
energy tonight.
military and Navy women. So,
Yeah.
let's get ready for next week video, and we'll see you guys next week, Saturday. Novelist, I am out.
peace, Jewel. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in. Miss Proper here out.
Hey yo, this is Jax all the way from the Twin Isles of Trinidad and Toronto, and guess what? On Saturday, March 11th, 2023 at 7 Eastern Standard Time, 8 in the Caribbean, I will be on Dissect. That's on tdntv.net. YouTube, Facebook, Island Therapy. I'll be having a whole hour of good vibes, good talk, and good music with. This is Jax with another one. Bad gal, tremble it.